Hello, everyone. Going to continue yet more testing with Payoff Pitch PC and Game Pulse using the 1969 World Series. So let's get back to it. In this stream, I'm going to be testing manual entry, which I think is going to be my preferred method of playing. I generally like to use PC games as board game companions, and I just enter in the results manually. Let me get over to this project, and I'm doing the 1969 World Series, replaying that. And in games 1 through 3, you can see the results here. Baltimore is up 3 games to 0. And to show you that, October 11th, Baltimore won 7-4. October 12th, Baltimore won 2-1. And October 14th, Baltimore won 2-1. So 3-0. They've outscored New York 11-6. I'm cheering for the Mets. I usually tend to cheer for historic winners when I do these types of replays. And I know Joe Cards is a big 69 Mets fan. So I messaged him, told him the bad news that I couldn't get him to win, and he's predicting the Mets win the next 2. So we'll see. But you can see the leaders for this replay. If I've done several streams testing this and showing this replay. So far in the replay, here are the leaders for pitching or for batting. You can see Cleon Jones has 2 homers and is hitting 500 through the first 3 games. Boog Powell has a homer and is hitting 583. He's probably, because he's been so clutch, he's probably going to be the MVP should the Baltimore clinch it in this game. So here are some of your leaders here, and here are some team stats if you're interested in seeing team batting stats, and you can scroll over here to see those. And I've been using the auto steal feature. It's the way I play the game. So there are some of those stats if you're interested in seeing those. You can see the Mets are out hitting Baltimore 297 to 274, but they're just not winning games. Pitching stats over here are pitching leaders for wins and ERAs. And if you want to see team pitching, here are those team pitching stats. Probably going a little too fast, but we'll leave that here for just a minute. Team fielding. Player batting. So you can sort through all of those if you want. I'm not going to take the time to do it. Player pitching. I finally used the guy for a second time, Ron Taylor. He's got 2.2 innings, giving up 3 hits. Just pitched the most innings. We can see we've had Baltimore, McNally, and Palmer have gone complete games, so the bullpen should be really well rested for Baltimore. Let's see who our strikeout leaders are. I love power pitching. So 9-9 for McNally and Seller. And Palmer's got 7 there himself, so right. You can see Seaver. You can highlight a roll and scroll over to get those stats. So Seaver has, I'd love for Seaver to get another start. He's only got 4. He didn't have a great outing his last time out. And player fielding. Let's see, has anybody made multiple errors? not been many errors. Has there only been one total error? So that's surprising a little bit. So everybody's fielding percentage is really good. Looks like you got league stats, team stats, all just pretty much anything you would want. You can get here. So which I switched over to team stats. I can switch over to batting and pitching by team and fielding by team. So I'm just discovering some of this stuff myself here. But yeah, here we are. We're at the game 4, and click go to current day, and it'll take you to the current game. You can see this is a World Series game. So we're going to play out game 4 here and hope the Mets can get a win. These are the historical lineups. Seaver is getting another another crack. I like to change this. This says red. It looks orange to me. I like Baltimore, have them orange. The Mets have them kind of the light blue. And you can see the replay stats here. I've shown Dana in a separate stream. I think it's a little bit buggy here because it doesn't always update. When I unchecked this box, it didn't update to his full season stats or to their full season stats. Same on this side right here. So it's just sticking with the replay stats. You can view the cards here. But here we go. We get Seaver's getting a second chance. I'm excited about that. Hey, you can see last time out it wasn't great. So I'm going to use the data entry or manual entry. So I got my charts and my facts over here. So again, reminder for everybody: this is alpha testing. So there's going to be bugs, there's going to be glitches. The stream is more about testing and getting Dana what he needs to be able to program in the game. Also, this mode Dana said definitely needs some love, is the way that he put it. So this one seems like maybe it hasn't had as much attention recently as some of the other game modes. So bear with me as I play it, and bear with Dana and Joe as they realize this part of the game needs some love to put it into Dana's words. And I told Dana, my preferred way of testing is to I could play a game, write down notes, and send those to him, and I've done it that way. Um, but he said this is good as well, which is my preferred method, is to just stream, make comments. Dana watches these. I want to encourage everybody to leave your comments, and I'm not. That's not just a way for me to shamelessly get comments in my videos, but Dana reads those, and when I make a recommendation, I'm sure he wants to hear from the community if you agree with that recommendation or not. And if several people want it, um, he'll consider it maybe. I'm sure he's getting flooded with recommendations because we all think it's just a snap of our fingers to put some of the stuff in. But unfortunately, it's not that easy, as we all really know. And we're all thankful to Dana for coding this out, and for Joe contacting them to do it. So we'll see. Like I said all that to say this mode, Dana has said, needs some love. So we'll see if I can get it to work pretty decently and how it works. And if I have to switch modes, we'll do that as well. But the focus is not on the replay, even though that's fun. But it might be slowing down a little bit to talk about some of the things, bugs or recommendations that we see as we play. All right, here we go. Top of the 4th, and we've got Seaver versus Buford. And for some reason, I was thinking I could see the cards on this. So I am going to have to switch modes because I don't have the actual 69 cards. I might have been thinking I'm going to try another way here. This manual dice rolling. Maybe that's what I was thinking. I don't know. I still don't think it's going to let me see the cards, which is fine. It's only fair. But let's see. Yeah, it's not going to let me see the cards. So I'm going to try that mode for a little bit, and then we'll just switch around here, the different modes. Because in order for me to do the true manual entry, I'll have to have the set. So I could do 69 with a set that I have, but I only have it in Appa Basic, and that is, and it's the original, and I got completely lost trying to play that game um, because the teams are not listed on the player card. So I think I got everybody all confused and all that good stuff. So let's just see. We'll just switch on the fly here. What mode do we want to try? We'll try the manual dice rolling. There's a subtle difference between manual dice rolling and manual dice rolling all dice and facts. Um, and the difference is just that. On manual dice rolling, roll all dice and fact, you are rolling for everything that takes place, which I actually really liked. But this manual dice rolling, some of the things still happen behind the scenes, like steal checks and bunt checks and stuff like that. And I've done a whole video on this, and I actually really liked that. But I'm going to try the manual dice rolling, not doing it. And I'm probably going to switch around a little bit in this. But you can see my options that I use that I'm going to be using here. And I got to turn off that manual interplays manually option. There we go. All right, so get my payoff pitch dice out here. Dana, one thing I've thought about if you're watching is I don't think wild pitches are coded in. And you may have said something about that, but I know sometimes when I roll like a roll of 30 on the game, I don't think the wild pitches come up. We'll see. I'll try to remember to look for that here. Okay, so we got Seaver versus Beaufort, and we got a 9-3, which is going to be a patient walk. And you can see that this is the difference is the steal check happened for me automatically here. So he gets Buford gets the jump on 1 to 4, but the 2d6 roll is an 11, so that check failed. And I did tell Dana about this bug right here, where it will show these little toasts if you select the play and if you select runner list, and it kind of goes over the top of itself. So turn that off. I thought I fixed that. Let's see. That's under visual. It's on. And then you have to click it, turn it on, and then turn it back off to get it to actually disappear from over here. This is where you show by default, this button is checked to show player analytics. You can turn that off, those off right here. And that way, when you hover over the cards while playing, those analytics don't appear. I think a lot of people like that. But I'm not really into the analytics. Got a 972, which is going to be against a righty. We're going to have a ground out to second. And I'm curious about the ground, checking for the double play is going to work because his Blair's double play rating is a 6, and Seaver's double play is a 7. So that means a 6 or less. It's a double play. And I think the roll will just happen automatically on the next screen. So it tells me that Paul Blair versus Tom Seaver, the sack bunt check wasn't in the range, so I continue with the normal at bat, and it was a fielder's choice 4-6. So I'm assuming the double play check happened behind the scenes. And here's the jump check for Paul Blair. His jump is a 4, rolled a 9. So he's not going to get the jump. Frank Robinson's bunt rating doesn't have an auto bunt rating, so it's just going to be a regular pitch here. And I wrote a 9-17. So that is going to be a patient 17 against the righty. It's going to be a walk. Baltimore threatening already. Boog Powell. 720. In play. Actually, I turn my number keys off. 720. In play 20 is going to be a single. And with only one out, there's a glitch on my screen where I can't get the FAQ over here, so it'll have to tell us what's going to happen for the base running. Looks like it was a 1 base advance. And if you want to see that, you can go to the play results here, and it'll show you all the rows. Apparently, that was a walk. I must have read that wrong. So that was a walk. So now the bases are loaded with 2 outs, and Brooks Robinson is a 7 double play. Seaver is a 7. So I'm going to keep the infield back and go for the double play. 777. In play, 77 is going to be a fly out to center field. And that runner on third, his run rating is an 8. And that's the second out. So fly out to center field. And it looks like the runner scores. Fly out center field, and because the runner on third base, his running rating is greater than 7, he scores on the fly out. The runner on second base's run rating is greater than 7. He advances on the fly out to center field as well. Runner on first base always holds on fly out. So you can click the play results and then click here and kind of get the walkthrough on why everything happened as it happened. So that's a very nice feature for parts of the game that you're not super familiar with. And the payoff pitch is an 8-5. That's going to be a tough 5, so it's probably a strikeout. And that makes it the third out. But just like all the other games, Baltimore jumps out to a quick lead. Let's see what New York can get done. 8-43 is going to be an in play, and a 43 against the lefty is going to be a grounder to first. I'm gonna do one more half. I'm gonna finish this half inning, then I'm gonna switch back over to the dice roll mode just because it's a little bit faster. 889 is in play, and 89 in play against the lefty is a grounder to second. I like to just test myself as I put these in to make sure that I'm playing the game correctly. Cleon Jones has been playing well for the Mets. Potential MVP if the Mets can turn around. 737 is a tough out. 37 against a lefty. And you can see because it's a tough out, I wrote a 37, which would normally be a single if it were tough. But since it's a tough out, then that's going to be an automatic out. I'm gonna do one more inning. I got the flow down a little bit there on dice rolling with this mode, so I'm gonna give that one. I'm gonna give it one more, at least half inning, and see. 569. We got Seaver versus Davy Johnson. Seaver with the 5 is going to be a tough out. And we got the 69, tough out. 69 against a righty is going to be a grounder to second. $871. Well, Dana, I don't know how difficult it would be, but what could be a pretty cool feature would be like this 871. I could still roll the dice, but then I could click on the 8 here, or 871, which we can see against a righty. 871 is tough, and then a tough 71 is the grounder to second. So what would be cool is if I could click tough, and if I could click this result right here, like if I could click it myself. I don't know. Put in the comments, guys. What do you guys think about that? If anybody's watching this, I think that could be a pretty cool feature, but don't know if it's worth the effort or not. Two outs and the pitcher spot up. And we got 747 in play. 47 in play against a righty is going to be a fly out to right field. All right, bottom of the second. Mets trying to get that run back against Heller. Now, I didn't go over his stats, so it looks like he was 23 and 11 with a 238. Man, the Orioles just keep running guys out here with great records and great ERAs. 182 strikeouts in 290 innings, so not a ton of strikeouts given those innings in 18 complete games. So I love this era with all the complete games. Wrote a 735, tough out. 35. It's going to be a strikeout. Swoboda almost brought the Mets back in game 3, but it didn't get it done. 4-6 is going to be a patient, and that 6 is going to be a walk. So still check failed because his jump is a 3, and I only wrote a 6. $889 in play. 89 against the lefty is going to be a grounder to short. So we got to check for the double play. And it should be an 8 or less. So a good chance of the double play here. And we can see it doesn't tell me. And Dana, I know I can go to the play by play, and I'm going to do that in a minute. But I would like to see what was rolled here. I know have to get an 8 or less, but to me, if I got a 2, that means it was just kind of a routine double play. If I got a 7, that means it was a fantastic, maybe a flip behind the back and they throw it over, um, something like that. It just increases immersion to me to be able to, and it keeps me connected to the game if I can at least see what was rolled there. And for the pitch, Seaver with a 372. So that's going to be a defense check. And I can't see. I've been telling everybody because I know people come and go in streams. I have a little glitch on mine. It's the first time it ever happened to me, but haven't been able to get it fixed. Where the fast action card is over here behind this, and Dana tried to walk me through how to fix it by accessing the files on my machine, but OneDrive has some stuff messed up on my machine, so we can't see what it is, what it's testing over here. But we'll be able to walk through and see it. So I rolled a 72. So that tells us it was looking at the error on the second baseman. His error rating is a 2. And I rolled uh, 72. So that first fact was looking at the error on the second baseman. He was a 2. It uses the roll of a 72, and then it flips another fact, and it shows that he has the result was a ground ball double play, and if the ground ball, if the range is A or B, then it's a double play. But since no one's on base, it doesn't really matter. And again, if you want to see that spelled out, you can go to the box score, and you can click on the play results and go to that play, which is automatically highlighted for you, and we can see the facts that were pulled right here. So I think this is a super cool feature, that I can see this here. I can see that you can see this card. What it's looking for is the error on the second baseman. And then I rolled a 2, which is an out. So that gives the fact final result. Since it was an out, Dana, this one's not hyperlinked so that I can see it. And I think it should be because it doesn't refer back to this one. Right? Because since it's an out on the infield, and it really should be another card flip. And I know you don't really have to do that in programming, um, but it looks like it's not coded that way because the result is a ground ball double play if it's an A or a B. So it'd be nice to see that uh, fact there. Regardless, it's an out, and Paul Blair is up against Seaver. 776 is in play. 76 in play is a fly out to center field. Seaver versus Frank Robinson. 736 in play. 36 is probably a hit. Nope, he just missed it. 36 is a pop out to second. Bottom of the third. Mets looking to get on the board. Jerry Grote 0 for 0 today. First at bat, 867. We can see that 8 is in play. 67 against the lefty is going to be a ground out to second. Al Weiss. And I did recommend to Dana that there, could be, if there be, I know he wants to keep this clean, but if there would be an easy way to show his current stats in this project, that'd be nice. 11 is the ballpark result, and I rolled 85. And he's going to be hitting right, so the 85 is in play. And then the fact was flipped, and the result was a 19, so it's a single. So he's in business, And I always like to take a quick look at the jump rating here just to give me an idea of if he's going to get that jump or not. And then I also like to look at the steal rating because sometimes you don't want them to get the jump if they not have a good steal rating. But it tells me over here that the jump check failed because he needed a 4 or less, and he got the 9. So the pitcher is up. Most likely, this is going to be a sack bunt attempt because Seaver's sack bunt rating is a 2 to 12. So it should be a sack bunt attempt because that's every possible result. So when I roll the dice here, I get the 7. And you can see that the sack bunt attempt was good because it did that sack bunt check behind the scenes. When I went to enter in the 7, it did that sack bunt attempt. So it was a 6, and then it pulled a fac for the sack bunt. He was a C rating, and it was a sacrifice hit to the catcher. So the runner moved up to scoring position here. So which brings up Tommy Agee trying to get in Al Weiss, who's got above average speed, being a 7 there. 809 is going to be in play, and I like the possibility here. 809 against the lefty is an in play. 09 is a single. So by rule, if they have a 7 or better, they automatically score. And he does. So the Mets get on the board. Stolen base paying off there, or was it the sacrifice hit? The small ball paying off. All right, we got an 11, which is going to be another ballpark, and we roll a 28 for a right-handed hitter. We can see that's going to be a wheelhouse, and then a fac was flipped again. Little bitty glitch where I can't see the fac right here, but we can go into the play-by-play and see it on the box score. And we can see that a 31 is the number that was flipped on that fac. So that is a pop out to the second baseman. But the Mets do tie it at the end of the third. After 3, I should say, I guess. 670. Let's see if Seaver can keep it. 70 is going to be an out to the shortstop. 660. We know that's a tough out, and a 60 against a righty is going to be a 60 is a fly out to right field. And Seaver 1264. I was afraid that 12 might be a wheelhouse, but it's a tough. 64 against a righty is going to be a ground out to the shortstop. Okay. Bottom of the fourth. Leon Jones. He's been playing well in this replay. And we got a 639. Whoops. We got to go to the next screen. We got a 6, which is in play. 39 against the lefty, and it's just out of its range, so it's going to be a pop out to second base. Don Clendon. 534. So it's a tough 34 is going to be a strikeout. And we got a 354. That's going to be a defense check. And I rolled a 54. So the way it works, there's a fac over here, little bug. Can't pull it over right now. But the first fac said I'm going to look for an error on the second baseman. We can see that second baseman, Davey Johnson, his error rating is a 4. That's what this 4 means right here. So we're going to look in the 4, and I rolled a 54. So it's an out. The next fac was pulled. And if it would have been a double play if the situation was right, and if his range is an A or a B, his range is a C, but the situation doesn't matter. It's an out because no one else was on, and it was 2 outs anyway. So after 4, we are tied at 4. We're going into fifth inning. We have an 8. $65, a tough 65. Going to be a fly out to the right fielder. Seaver is dealing for sure this game. 876 is a tough, and he did not have a great first game, so making up for it here. And the pitcher spot is up. We're going to let him hit, and we got a 1083, so that's going to be a ballpark. 83 is going to be in play. And when you know it, the fact that was pulled had a 9, and that's a single, and he breaks up the no-hitter. And apparently, he passes his jump check of 3, and he is a C stealer against a 2 arm. So that roll was done, and it was an 89, and he came out safe. So the pitcher breaks up the no hitter, gets on base, gets to jump, successfully steals. So that's the way it's been going for Baltimore. So suddenly it looked like Seaver was rolling, no worries at all. And suddenly, with the pitcher spot coming up, now they got a man in scoring position. But hopefully he can get out of it here. And we got a 621. I don't know that that's a good roll. Let's see. Nope, it's going to be a fine roll. 6, because that's a tough out. 21, and it's going to be a strikeout. Had me worried there. And hello, Kenta Classic Replays. Looking forward to when it's available. I'm liking everything I see. I am too. It's a great game, and lots of good stuff here. All right, Seller versus Charles, and we got a 10-17. 10-17. That's going to be the leadoff runner is going to be on. And he does not pass his jump check. It failed because he needed a 4 and he gets a 7. So it brings up Jerry Grote, I'm assuming is the way you pronounce that. And we got a 685. In play, 85. It's going to be a ground out to the shortstop with a decent chance of a double play here because Sellers' double play rating is an 8. Grote's double play is a 7, so a 7 or less, and it's a double play. That'll be executed on the next screen. And it looks like he got it. And I've already asked Dana if he would, I recommend, and you guys can put in the comments if you agree or not, it would be nice to see what that roll was. It just tells me that he got the double play, and then it was a 6-4-3, but I would like to see how close it was. I would actually like to roll for it, but that's a different mode, and that option is available in a different mode if you want to roll for every single thing. I'm just testing a mode that I probably won't play too much, but testing out the different modes for Dana. So they got the double play, which is nice, and it brings up nice for Baltimore. I'm cheering for New York because the series New York is down 0-3. Al Weiss, and this is game 4. We got a 10-20, so a 10 is patient, and a 20 is most likely going to be a walk, and it is. And he fails his jump check, or steal check. Bringing up the pitcher spot. I'm keeping Seaver in. I'm going to let him hit here. We got a 5-13. That's going to be a strikeout. All right, Seaver. We got Blair, Robinson, and Powell up. Seaver needs some run support. We got a 9, which is a patient. 58 against a righty is, I thought that was trouble, but it's going to be an out. 58 is a fly out to right field. By Swoboda. Makes the out. And I don't know how to say these names, so forgive me. 636. Tough out. 636 against a righty is because it's a tough out. Instead of that single, it's converted to an out. Al Weiss fields that. And it brings up Boo Powell, who has been trouble. We got a 932, and that looks like trouble. Patient 32 is going to be a walk. Whoops, 32. That's what I noticed. I had put that in incorrectly. And he fails his jump check, which brings up Brooks Robinson. 664 is a tough out. 64. Grounder over to second, and Al Weiss throws to first to get the out. Bottom of the sixth. Tommy Agee, top of the lineup. He's 1 for 2 today. 297. It looks like that could be something. That's going to be a defense check. And then for those, because people come and go in streams, I have a little glitch here, so I can't see the FAQ that would normally be over here, the fast action card that would normally be over here. So I haven't done it in a couple innings. So I'll show you how. If you miss looking at this, you can look at the play-by-play and see everything. It's all listed there for you. 2, and I got a 97, and this will list it as well because this shows that the first FAC pool, it was looking for the error rating on the second baseman. You can see Davey Johnson's error rating is a 4. I rolled a 97, so that's going to be an out. So then another action card, fast action card was pulled, and it tells me, and this actually matters. I thought there was a runner on base. I guess not, but it's a line out into a double play. And if he's an A or a B, it would be a double play. You can see that Davey Johnson's just a C, so it's just a line out, but no one's on base. So it doesn't really matter. Bud Harrelson. We got a 384. That's another defense check. So I forgot to walk you through and show you how you can see this on the play-by-play, how you can actually see the card, even if you forget to look at it here. And also, these cards flip really fast on this screen. So if you want to actually look at the cards, you can look at them in the play-by-play. But the first card tells us we're looking for an error on the third baseman. His error rating, Brooks Robinson's error rating is a 4. I rolled an 84. So you can see that's going to be an out. So now a second card was pulled. So it's a ground ball, and it's fielder's choice. So if there were a runner, the hitter would be on and the runner would be out. So to actually see that, if you go into the box score and you click the play results, highlight the play you want, and it's always going to default to the most recent play. And it will tell you up here, it's the bottom of the sixth, score is tied 1-1. There's 2 outs, no runners are on base. We got Bud Harrelson against Mike Seller. And I don't quite, this is a win expectancy. I don't quite know what that means. And we see that it's a ground out to the third baseman, but we can see all the rolls at that first check. What it was, you can see it here. The defense check was an error on the third baseman, and then there was a final FAQ, and I've already made a recommendation to Dana that we can highlight and see this final FAQ as well to see that out that was given, because you can see that it's not referring back to this card, which it shouldn't really, because if it were referring back to this card, it would show us a result of ground ball plus advance, but it's showing a ground ball versus a ground ball fielder's choice. So it's definitely a different FAQ, which I like that it is. I know you could actually code FAQs to where it doesn't really matter. We would really have to flip a different FAQ each time, but I like that the game is doing it. But And sometimes they get stuck there. So you just want to make sure it's gone before you leave this screen. And I've told Dana about that one as well. All right, Cleon Jones. Here's the pitch from Seller, and it is a 775, so it's going to be a tough out. 75 is going to be an out. Grounder to second. Davy Johnson takes care of that one. So heading into the seventh inning. Seaver versus Hendricks. And we got a 5-7. That's going to be a strikeout. 5-7 is a strikeout for Seaver. Dana, one recommendation I don't think I've made yet is you have the what the hitter's done here so far today. It'd be nice to have what the pitcher's done so far today right here as well, so I could see which strikeout, how many strikeouts that is for Tom Seaver without having to go into the box score. I am curious though. So let's go down to pitching. That's only his third strikeout. I felt like he had more than that, but that's only his third one. So all right, we got Seaver versus Davy Johnson. 877 is a tough 77, and that is going to be an out. It's going to be a fly out to center field. Seaver versus Bellinger. 653. Tough out. 53 is going to be a ground out to the third baseman. Mets half of the seventh coming up. Let's check. I'm curious about Seller fatigue rating is an 8. 6-14, and this game's featuring pitching just like they almost all of them have so far. So it's going to be a tense one, and I think that 14 might get him on base in play. 14, it does. It's a single, and he's got a jump rating of 4 and a steal rating of D. Tempted to look for a pinch runner here, but I'm not going to do that. Swoboda's bunt is a B rating, but he doesn't have an auto bunt number, so he's not going to be bunting in this situation automatically. All right. And we got an 869 in play 69. 869 is going to be a grounder to second. So we got a possible double play. 6 here, 8 there. So we're 6 or less. And it'll tell us on the next screen if what we rolled or if we got the double play or not. Remember, it's a 6 or less to get the double play. And it tells us that it's a fielder's choice. And I've already made the recommendation to Dana to show. I know I needed a 6 or less. I've made the recommendation to show us what that roll actually was. He just tells us it just tells us it was a fielder's choice here. What did he get? Did he get 2? Did he get 3? Did he get 4? Did he get 5? That would, or a 6 even. Or no, less than the 6 is a fielder's choice. So if he got a 7, I know it was really close and he barely beat it out. If it's a 12, he had plenty of room. Although I think a 12 the play would have only been a first. Simulate the slow roller. All right. We got Swoboda on first, above average runner. 987. Tough 87. That is going to be another grounder and another chance of a double play. And this time they get the double play. 6-4-3. So we know he rolled less than that. The background roll was less than 6, killing the Mets' chances. Seaver had a bad game 1, so I'm giving him a chance to make it right here, letting him keep going. I don't think his fatigue rating it's a 9, so he's good. 654. Tough out 54. And I let the pitcher hit. That's okay. It's 1969. They kept going. Probably would have been a really good place to pinch hit there with the leadoff pitcher spot being the leadoff spot. But 636 is a tough out. 36. You can see it's only a strike. It's only an out because it's a tough out. Normally that would be a single. But with that tough out from Seaver dominating, it's actually a pop out to the catcher, to second base. Al Weiss gets it. Paul Blair. I got a 759. It's going to be an in play. 59 is going to be an out. That is a fly out to right. The Mets half of the eighth. I let him hit, so I'll let Seller hit. So I'm going to let him pitch here. 2-4. I think that's trouble. I think that's a defense check. 2. A lot of times those 2s and 12s are wheelhouses. But it's going to be a defense check. And I rolled a 4. So we can see on the fast action card, it was looking for an error check on the pitcher, and his error rating is a 3. And you can see that is an error. So there have not been many errors in this World Series, but we just had a costly one here as Mike Seller lets the leadoff guy, Jerry Grote, on. And he's a 7 runner with above average speed. So we'll see what happens here. Al Weiss, auto bunt rating of 10 or 12. So if that comes up, they'll try to bunt over. Grote's still check failed, so he didn't get the good lead. 443. 4 is a patient. 43 against a lefty, and that's going to be a double. And we got Grote with above average speed. Less than 2 outs, though. A fact should be flipped, and it'll tell us what happened here. 443. Not sure why that's coming up. All right. Well, remember 443. Cancel this. Make sure the options are not set to manual. Gameplay. I have this turned off. So, Dana, I'm not sure if you're going to see this or not, but it's trying to make me enter in the play result. Even though this is turned off, it's trying to make me enter it in. So, a couple of things, other things I've done have shown you this and the way I've fixed it. Hopefully this will fix it. I do interplay manually, resume game, and then I go back and turn it off and resume game. And let's see. I got a 443. And this time it fixed it. So I don't know if I did something incorrectly. But anyway, regardless, a fact is going to be flipped, and it'll tell us what happens on the double there. And it looks like he gets the extra base. Just checking through here. Trying to see what happened here. Tells me he gets the double, but I don't know why he got the extra base. I can look at, when I click in play here, I can go to the box score and I can click play results. The play is highlighted for me and it kind of walks through and it shows. Dana, I hope you're watching because one of the other times um, it showed when multiple facts were used in that bat, it showed the first one, but it didn't show the second one. This time it is showing the second one, so that's nice. So just to walk everybody through, and it's the bottom of the eighth. There was the score is now 1-2. It was 1-1 at the time of the at bat. There was a runner on second, and the batter was Al Weiss against Mike Seller. And now after that, the weighted win expectancy for the Mets is now 93%. He hits a double. You can hover over and you can see the player's cards here because whichever play is highlighted up here, this walks you through. So we can see all the rolls. We can see a four was rolled, which is checking the patient result on the pitcher, and it shows you it was manually rolled. So I like that. Um, the batter's roll was a 43, and you can see that here. A 43 patient against a lefty is a double. So you can see that on the card here. You can see the four on seller's card is a patient. So this walks you all through it. The first fact was drawn. And then got myself confused here. All right, so we rolled a 2 on seller's card, or a 4 on seller's card. That's a patient. Then we rolled a 43 to give us the double. It all made sense before I really started going through, but I knew I needed to kind of look at this card right here for the runner advancement. And we can see that the double is a line drive into the alley of center field. All runners score. So Jerry Grote scores from first. And I got myself turned around, but regardless, we see that the win expectancy now goes up to 93% for the Mets. And I'm still going to let Seller stay in, at least finish out the inning. We'll see. But we do still have a runner on scoring position. Seaver is up here. So this is going to be interesting. With the pitcher spot up, it's probably going to be a bunt situation. Try to get him over into third with less than 2 outs. And remember, I got auto rules turned on in the background. So 6. And that's exactly what happened. His bunt rating is a 2 to Seaver's bunt rating was a 2-12, and the bunt check was within that range. He's a C bunter, and the fact shows for a C bunter in that situation that it is a sacrifice to the first baseman and the runner moves up. So now we've got Al Weiss on third base with less than 2 outs. So a great chance by the Mets here to really take the lead. I'm going to infield in. Again, I've made the recommendation to Dana to make it obvious that the infield is in when you click that button to confirm, give you some sort of confirmation. But I want to really just dig in here and I want to look at the game options or the box score. And I want to see that weighted win expectancy. It's still only 93%. So I guess for it to really go up, they're going to have to get that runner in before this goes up anymore. But you can walk through the play right here and see all the facts and all the rows and everything that was in play. Last time I tried to walk everybody through it, I got myself confused. Normally I don't, but this is how we got the runner over to third. I just like looking at the cards. Okay. So with 2 outs, and I'm going to do normal defense. I'm going to do infield in. I just did that to just make sure the infield is actually in. So here's the pitch. And we rolled a 666. So it's going to be an in play. 66 against a lefty. It's going to be a fly out to right, which on an in play, so the runner's run run rating is not adjusted at all. So he's a 7. 666. Fly out to right field. And it's enough to bring in the runner. Fly out to right field. And again, there is a mode where if you want to do all the rolls, it will do that for you. Also, you can see Seller is now fatigued because we're in his fatigue inning. And there are these little sweat drops here. So it gives you an indicator that he's fatigued. So I think that is really good. I'm gonna let him pitch to one more batter because I did read in Delphi that Joe said the intent is, I believe it was, I know I read it somewhere where Joe, I think it's actually in the instruction manual here, that the intent is that they pitch to about 10% of the at bats are while they are fatigued. So I'm not going to waste your time by looking for that here. It might have been on Delphi where I read it, where Joe said it. So I usually will let them pitch to a few batters, even while they're fatigued. 841. Here's the pitch. And also, it gets to show off this cool feature and the little charts that are built in here. So that shows you the fatigued pitcher chart, which I love that the charts are in the game. So we get the in play, and the chart's not going to matter because the in play is not one of the results that are affected when a pitcher is fatigued. So in play 41 against a lefty, and Harrelson can't get on. But the Mets have taken a very strong lead into the ninth inning. So I want to check back to, for a guy who's not very interested in some of the advanced analytics, I sure am checking this quite a bit. Um, Now the win percentage is up to 96%. So the win expectancy, I think that stands for weighted win expectancy, is up to 96%. So Joe Cards predicted that the Mets would win these next 2 games. So we'll see. I'm going to let Seaver play it out. Anybody around in 1969 that knew the common defensive subs that the Mets might have used? I don't see anybody out here. I know the lower the arm, the better. So those arms aren't great. Um, these ranges aren't great. The beef's pretty good here. This range, I'm staying with it. But if anybody was around in '69 and knew the common defensive subs that the Mets might have used, and you're in the chat, you can put it in there, and I'll put the sub in. For now, Seaver delivers to Frank Robinson, who is dangerous and has been good in this replay. And I got an in play 05, which was very scary, but it's probably at least going to be a double, an extra base hit. And it's not, it's just a single. So I got a 2 in play 05. And we can see that's only a single. And his jump rating, his jump check failed. So Boog Powell, he doesn't have an auto bunt rating. I'm saying with Seaver. 686. So tough out. 86 is going to be a tough 86 against a righty. That's a chance for a double play because that's a grounder to second. And Boog Powell's double play is a 7. And Seaver's double play is a 7. So a 7 or less, and it's a double play. This roll will take place behind the scenes. and it's doing this again. So is there something I am doing? 686, and it looks like it was just a fielder's choice 4 to 6. They did not get the double play. So I'm curious if we can see in the play by play what that result was. And it does tell us right here that the roll for the double play was an 8. And remember, I needed a 6 or less. So because the 8 is greater than the double play rating, I thought I needed a 6 or less, but this says I needed a 7 or less. So it's close. It was really close. Um, this shows here, Dana, and this is great, but it would be nice if it would show here. And for me, I probably won't play this mode too much anyway because I like there's another mode if you've just joined the stream that shows you can make every roll. So there's another mode that would let me do that. That would be the mode I would probably be playing, but I'm testing out the different streams. All right, so we got Boog Powell. His jump rating is a 2. That failed, it looks like. So bringing up Brooks Robinson, he has an auto bunt rating of 12. So if a 12 is rolled behind the scenes, he'll try to bunt Powell in the scoring position. And just aside here, I love games like this that have that auto base running, stealing strategy stuff in it. It's one of the reasons I really like Payoff Pitch is it's got a really good, quick and easy auto system where I'm not having to manage against myself. I can just kind of watch, or I can make decisions for one team and let the auto system make the decisions for the other team. Speaking of that, Dana, I don't know if that's an option to play this game, but probably people would like that, where they can control one team and then let the AI make the decisions. I do think you're building AI managers, but I personally I would like to do the auto roles that you currently have in for one team, and then let me make the decisions for another team. I don't do that too much, but I know a lot of people like to play that way. If you can follow what I'm trying to say there. All right, here's the pitch from Seaver. 1251. That 12 scared me. Those 12 scared me. I always think of a wheelhouse, but it's a tough result. And a 51 against a righty for Brooks Robinson. He is not able to handle that. And the 51 is a grounder to third. So we got another check for a double play. And it looks like it is a fielder's choice, 5-4. So we can check the box score and we can see what that roll actually was. You can see that we needed a 7 and we rolled an 8. So because of that, the 2d6 is greater than a double play rating. The runner on first base is forced out and the hitter is safe. So that leaves Robinson with a jump rating of 2. Hendricks, it's 2 out. So if he has an auto bunt rating, doesn't really matter because he wouldn't be bunting here. The game won't let you bunt there or won't roll for that check there. I've already tested that to make sure it doesn't do an auto check with 2 outs when it shouldn't. And it will tell you that up here as well, how you check for that. But it does tell us that he failed his jump check. Should I pinch hit here for Hendricks with 244? He's 0 for 3 today. Let's give it a shot just so I can say I'm being fair and trying everything I can try here. So I'm gonna bring in a pinch hitter for Hendricks. So the way you do that, and that way in case somebody's not seen it, you just click on the roster or use your hotkey for the roster, and you can filter by all position players. And to see the opposing pitcher, I can hover over his name and see what's going on here, see his card. And I am a little scraped for time, so I'm actually going to let him hit here. And I rolled a 744 in play. 44 is going to be a grounder to first, and that's going to be the third out. And the Mets do. Joe Cards is not a false prophet. He predicted the Mets would win games 4 and 5, and they did win game 4. You can see the MVP is Tom Seaver. He went 9 innings, only allowed 2 hits, 1 run. It was earned. He struck out 4 and walked 4. There's your complete box score. If you're interested in seeing a quick glance of that, there's your lines. Here's Baltimore. Here's New York. Here's our pitching stats. And if you want to, you can save the play by play in the box score, and it does go into a directory that you can access and print. So that's nice. So I'm going to end the game there. And you can now see that it's 3-1, and the Mets live to get another game. And that will be on October 16th in New York. I'm going to end the stream there. And if there are, I asked for some things for you guys. I asked for some features and want to know what other people might like. So if you would, if you watch this and you saw the features I asked for, if you think that's a good feature, Dana watches these, the developer watches these streams, and you can put in the comments if you agree with those features that I asked for, and he'll take a look at that and he'll consider that. Again, he's probably getting blown up with requests for different features, so he may or may not be able to do it, but that is a way to potentially give feedback even if you're not able to test the game. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to jump off. Have a good evening. And we'll wait till later to see if Mets can extend the series even more.